Hi, I welcome you back, and in this video lecture we are going to talk about the eyedropper tool and the attribute eyedropper tool, which is right here. So this is color eyedropper and this is attribute eyedropper. Okay, we are going to learn how these two things helps us in selecting a color. Okay, so now let's create two different objects with two different colors so we can understand how they work. Okay, we can come just right here and give this thing yellow, and we can come right here and give this blue. Okay, so now eyedropper tool helps you to select a color from a particular object and add it to another object. Okay, just like we're here right now, I want to take my blue and add it to my yellow, as in I want to take blue and take the attribute to yellow, or I can take yellow and replace blue with yellow. Okay, I can use my eyedropper tool. Now this doesn't work on objects very effectively because we can always set our object color right from here, but I'm still going to explain this when we get to images. All right, let's go and get our eyedropper tool. Now we can select blue. Okay, so wherever you take it, it will show you select either blue or white. It can also select the background color, and it can also select the object color, any object at all, be it an image, anything. Sometimes you may try to make a design of a particular something which you have the sample, then you want the color, the exact color right inside the sample, and you don't have the color and you may not know how they got about the color. So you can just get your eyedropper tool, pick the color from the object or from the image, and add it where you want it to be. Okay, so let's just click and pick the color. So when we come right here, this thing is not active because there is no object. So we can come right inside this object. You see it shows us our blue color which we picked right from here, so we can drop right here. Okay, so we're going to change the color from yellow to blue. All right, so we have changed the color entirely. So we picked blue color right from here, and we added the blue color here. We still have this eyedropper tool active, so we can just fill as many objects as possible with the blue color we picked right here. So right here, this is where we set the pixels. Okay, like this works in a situation whereby we'll have a mixture of color that we don't know how they got about it. Okay, let's try something. We can come right here with our eyedropper tool and pick a color. When we are scrolling through this place, it shows us that the color from here, because the number keeps changing, the color here is not the same thing with the color right here at the middle. Okay, you see the color changes. So I can pick either from here or I can pick either from the middle, depending on what I want. So you know this color is not what we got from here, we got it from our pattern, mixing the color we have and then the pattern. So we can get this exact color right from here. So we can pick this color here and come back to our page 4 and add it to our object. So eyedropper tool picks color from anywhere at all, be it an image or maybe a design that someone did or something else. Okay, so this is how you use your eyedropper tool. Then these things right here, select from the pixel. Now this is sample the color of a single pixel and sample the color of 2 pixels, average color. That is the pixel we are talking about is let's go to page 4 so we understand better. Now we'll have varieties of pixels right here, so it's left for this color eyedropper to detect the pixels. Okay, let's go to our view and change it to pixels so we can be able to see our pixels. Now see the pixels right here. If you want to get these pixels in your design, just go to your view and change your background to pixels. Okay, so when you scroll very deep, you will see the pixels line. So this picks a color from just a single pixel right here. All right, so when we highlight this, it means it's picking average color from these 2 pixels. All right, when we draw on these 2 pixels, we see that it has the same color and not much changes. It will mix the two of them for us and give us for us supply where we want to add it. The same way, this average 5, so it can pick from the 5 pixel 1 2 3 4 and 5. It just has to make sure that it gets 5 pixels together, match the color on them, and then give you the outcome for you to add to your fill. Okay, so this is how it works. So we can just scroll out and then the pixels disappears. So let's go back to our view, and change it back to enhanced, which is the view we use. So when you scroll, there will be no pixels line again because we are now on enhanced. Okay, so let's go back to our page 4. Now we are okay with this. So this is where you have the color that you selected in case you need to use it some other time. You can as well add the color to palette. Okay, so once you click on this, it's going to add the color right here. We're still going to talk about these colors and how they came about. Okay, so now let's go to the second one right here. That is the attribute eyedropper. Now the attribute eyedropper copies every attribute of this first object to the second object. Okay, let's drop this. Let's give this first object an outline that is very visible. Okay, to 10, and then let's leave this one so maybe blue without any outline. Okay, so we can pick our attributes eyedropper tool, and we can just pick from here. It doesn't just pick the color alone, it picks every other thing, every other attribute of this particular rectangle. So let's come here and we'll drop. Okay, see, it picks all the attributes here, including the outline color, and fills it to this place. So here is where we set the properties we want to copy. Is it outline? We can decide to uncheck outline. So whenever we copy color from here, it's going to just be the color without the outline. Okay, or we can as well change the fill and leave the outline. Okay, let's change this one. Let's change this one to blue. Okay, so we can just take just the outline and add to this one. So let's go on and copy, and then we'll add to this one. So it didn't change the fill, rather it changes the outline. So you change the properties that you want. So text, we don't have any text right here, and the text has to come in when there is an image. And before you do that, here you have to make sure that the text and the rectangle are together. Okay, so we can keep all of them checked, so it works perfectly well when next you're using it without any issue. So here is where you select your transformation. You can rotate the position of your object, you can increase the size, you can take the rotation. Okay, let's just say this one is smaller and this one is bigger. Let's just go with size. Okay, we can just use our attributes tool, copy, and then paste here. It's going to reduce the size, everything. It copies all the properties right here to this one, both the color and the transformation. Okay, so if this one has rotation, that's when this comes in, and if it has position, that is changing the position from here to here, which it does have, that is when this comes in. So it depends on what you want. So here is our effect. If there is any effect on this particular object, we can as well copy it right to this place. Okay, and here is one where you apply the attribute of the selected object. So I believe with this we understand perfectly how eyedropper tool and how attribute eyedropper tool works. So we can go on and practice with it over and over again to make sure we don't get confused and to make sure we understand. Hi, I welcome you back, and in this video lecture we are going to talk about the interactive fill tool, which is right down here. Okay, so when we right down here, don't mind me. So let's check. We have interactive fill, we have smart fill, and we have mesh fill. So we're going to take them one after the other to see how they work. So this interactive fill tools helps us to give color to our object the way we want them to be. Okay, so it's not just one color, it helps us to mix colors together. It helps us to give pattern as well, the color to an object. It works like a transparency tool, but the difference is just that the transparency to make your object transparent at the end of the fill, while interactive fill tool will just give a fill to your object without making it a transparent object. Okay, so let's go on and select an object right here, a rectangle. So let's go to our interactive fill tool, which the second one, the first one right here. So we can just use any of these presets right here, but because we don't have any color here, it's going to give us white and black because that is the default color. So let's draw along. So these two places are the nodes where you can add two colors of your choice. So this particular interactive fill tool helps us to mix more than one color together, and we can use it as a background color or an object color depending on what we want. Okay, we can just select any node of our choice and add any color of our choice right in there. Okay, we can just select this node again and add blue color right there. Just like I told you, it works like transparency tool, but it doesn't make your object transparent. That's the difference. All right, so let's come right here and check the options we have right here. So we'll have default options. Here is the uniform fill, that is giving it a single color. Then here is fountain fill, you just give it two different colors. So whenever you draw along, it's just a fountain fill. So you can give two colors, you can give more than two colors. Just like right here, I can add more nodes by double clicking on the line to add a node, and I can give color to this node. So I can double click on this line right here to add a node. Okay, so the same way I can keep adding nodes till I get the mixture of colors I want. Okay, so this helps you to mix as many colors as possible. So right here we'll have vector pattern fill, where you have pattern fill, and you can come right here and see some pattern fills they have, and you can pick any of them if you're really interested in using any of them. Okay, this one right here is bitmap pattern. So this one gives you pattern just like in transparency tool. Okay, you see almost the same pattern with that of transparency. All right, so this one right here is a hash fill. Okay, gives you a fill that looks like line, so it doesn't have other samples, it's just one. This one right here is two color pattern fill. So we can as well change this right here depending on the kind of pattern we want. So we can go to this place which is texture fill, and here we'll have our samples too. Okay, where we can pick any of these textures and add it to our object depending on what we want. Here are the samples, the name of the textures that we want. Right here we'll have postscript fill, which gives you another type of fills where you can select samples here like spider web. We'll have more other samples like squares, and we'll have more other samples like waves. So depending on the kind of pattern you want. So right here we are interested in using two colors or maybe more than two colors. We want to make the mixture ourselves. So let's come back right here and pick to pattern fill. We can decide to choose fountain fill, which our object is not selected. Okay, we can just drag along our object. Okay, and then we can add as much color as we want. We'll add blue to this side, and we may add red to this side. Okay, so right here is where you select the linear fountain, how you want your fountain to be. This one is linear, that is the default. We can check elliptical, you see. Then we can also check the conical, and then we can as well check the rectangle. Okay, so all these things works when you have the work better, and are more effective when you have more than one color. So let's go on and add a node and give it another color so we can see the effects very well. All right, so let's come back right here. Here is linear, here is elliptical, and here is a conical. We can just use these things right here to make adjustments how we want them to appear, how small or how big, and how we want them to fade. Okay, so right here we'll have rectangular, so we can just make the changes depending on what we want. So I believe something like this looks beautiful, so you can use something like this to create any background of your choice, and you can make your designs with them. Okay, so this is where you change the color. If you don't get these colors right here by mixing, you can change it from any of this place. Okay, so here is where you reverse the fill the other way. You see, it reversed. The blue that was outside came right at the middle, and the red went right outside. Let's check it out again. You see, so we've reversed the fill we have right here, and we can just keep it back to normal. So here is where we'll make the arrangement how we want the arrangement to be. This is the fourth fountain fill, and repeat and mirror. So it's going to repeat this fill. If we drag out these parts, it will repeat and mirror the fill. Okay, so when you drag out and in, you see it's repeated everything and keeps mirroring it. So here is smooth. You can just make the colors very smooth, that they will blend together in a smooth way without you knowing which one, where each of them started and where they ended. Okay, so right here is where we can change our acceleration. Okay, how big we want it to be or how small we want it to be. It also affects the smoothness. Okay, it helps us to increase the smoothness of the colors. Here is free scale and skew. If we don't want this right here, this arrow that helps us to scale and skew, and we can check this to get a scaling tool, which is very big, and we can use it to scale our work the way we want it. Okay, so right here we can copy the properties, the fill that we have here to another object, and here is where we edit our fill. So every other thing we did right here, we can as well do it right here. Once we click on this, it's going to get us a pop-up where we can make some editing right here to make arrangements where we think we are not okay with. Okay, so this is very simple, and it's very easy. So you can go on and create as many backgrounds as you want using your interactive fill tool. You can as well create objects with nice colors using your interactive fill tool. So I believe you understand everything right here, and if there is any question, you can just go on and use the question and answer section. So thank you very much, and in our next video lecture we are going to talk about the rest of the two fill tools right here. So we're going to know how smart fill tool works, and hi, I welcome you back to this video lecture, and in this video lecture we are going to talk about the two tools we have left, which is smart fill tool and mesh fill. Okay, we are going to learn how these two tools work. All right, so let's minimize this, reduce the size and keep it by the side, and create another object entirely. Okay, now smart fill tool, just like we have right here, helps you to add color to your object depending on the one selected right here. Okay, you can just decide the option of your fill. You can just use default, you can specify or no fill depending on what you want. So let's keep it on the specify. So here is where we'll select the color we want to fill right here. Maybe we don't have these colors right here. The colors right here are just in their natural way, and this is where you can just get them either lighter or the darker part of them. So you can decide to adjust this to either lighter part of this or to the darker part of it, which is right here, or maybe to the color proper depending on what you want. So when you're done with this, you can just go on and cancel this, and then click on the object selected to apply fill. Okay, you can just click on this object right here, and then we'll have our fill. So here is where we'll set the options, outline option, Do we leave it at specify, or do we leave it at no outline? So whichever one we want, okay, we can just choose it, but we can also always leave it at use default. So let it appear the way it was before. So this is where you add the point and outline width, and here is where you set your outline color, but they are not effective because you're using default. Let's try to specify. Okay, so here we can increase the outline to either 10, or we can change the outline color right here to what we want it to have. And after making the settings, we can just come right here and click on our object to apply. Okay, so I believe we understand perfectly how this works. We can just go with no outline, and when we click on this, all this becomes ineffective. We can just click on this object to take it back where it was before. So let's take it back to default, or maybe specify, because we have this right here. Okay, we can drag the fill out, and then we'll still have the original object right here. Okay, every fill we'll add on this object, it's going to create another rectangle on its own, apply the fill on top, and then leave us with the original rectangle we have. The first fill we applied, and this is the second one which we applied with outline, and this is the last one we applied. So let's go on and remove the first one as well, so we can have our rectangle left for us. Okay, so right here you can just add a color to your rectangle. You can just add a fill and you move the two together. Okay, but here it's just creating a fill with the size of the rectangle you have, and at the end of the day you still have your rectangle left for you, and then you have your fill separate. Okay, so this is how mesh fill works. So we can just add as many colors as we want on a single rectangle, and then we can separate them one after the other to do what we want to do with them. So I believe with this we understand how smart filter works. So with this you can just create as many colors as you want. You can just create your shape and then give it as much colors as you want, and at the end of the day you can just pick it one after the other and place them where you want to use them. Okay, this is just a rectangle with normal fill, while these are rectangles with smart fill. Okay, so let's delete this once and try another thing with just this one we have right here. Okay, we can just minimize this and keep it right here because we understand everything right inside. And then this one right here is just a normal rectangle with color blue right inside. So now let's try and see how our mesh fill works. Okay, here this mesh fill creates so many nodes for you where you can merge colors together, and at the end of the day all of them will blend as one color, just like we have here. But this doesn't have a pattern, it just works like mixing a color, like painting something without having a particular mode of creating it. Okay, so we can just come right here and select whether we want rectangular or we want freehand. Any of these are very okay. So in each of these nodes is where you can add a color. Okay, you can select one node right here and add another color inside. So let's select, let's make sure it's selected. So once the other nodes right here are active, then you've successfully selected your node. Okay, now we can add yellow right here. We can also add red right here, depending on the color you want to achieve at the end of the day. So it's adding each of this color in equal proportion. Okay, we can add gold right here. We can add any color of our choice. We can add green, we can add our brown, murky green. We can add any color at all depending on what we have in mind. Before you use this mesh tool, you must make sure you have something in mind you want to achieve with it, so you don't make mistakes and you don't end up creating varieties of colors that you don't know what to do with. Okay, so we can add deep purple right here. So at the end of the day, you will have something that looks like a rainbow color, but they are all blended together. Okay, so we can change the setting, we can change the lines of the nodes, we can transform it to any other thing. We can just straighten it as a straight line right from here, you see. So I can just draw this out, or I can just leave it back to the normal position. This one helps me to convert to curve. I can convert this right here to curve, and when I drag out, gives me curve and not a straight line again. All right, I can just drag it back where it is. So this and this does the same thing. Okay, right here we'll have delete nodes. Any nodes we don't want, all these things right here, this one are called nodes. So if we don't want any of these nodes, we can just delete them right from here, or you can just highlight any of them and delete it with your delete key. Right here is where we'll make setting of the color we want to be at the middle. All right, mesh fill color. Okay, we can just pick any color of our choice right here and say it's applied. Okay, it's applied here, so it's applied where we selected. So anyway you selected, you can just come right here and change the color to what you want. Okay, so you can just click on the nodes and add color, or you can just click on any node and come right here to add your color. So these are two ways you can add your color to your mesh. So right here is where you change the transparency. You can make it a transparent object, or you can leave it the way it is. Okay, let's increase the transparency. It's not going to be much visible here because we'll still have it right on the background. Okay, so right here is where you add smoothness, where you make the curves smooth. So you can adjust the curve smoothness right from here, and the curves going to be smooth. All right, the curves right inside this color. So you see, when we're making adjustments, every of these things, of these colors start blending together as if they are one. Okay, so this is where you smoothen the mesh color. Everything gets smooth and looks as one. If you want to copy the mesh property, you can just click right here, and if you're not okay with the mesh color, you can just clear everything you've done right from here. All right, so I believe we understand how each and every one of these works, and then we can try it on our own. So remember, mesh and smart fill works the same way, because at the end of the day you have a single color and you have multiple colors right here. So you can just remove the outline right from here. Now we'll have a transparency mesh object. We can just take it to an object we'll have right here to see. Okay, this one is right in front. We can just take it behind by going here and changing order to back of the layer. So you see right here, so this object is transparent because we can see the other object right behind it. Okay, so this is where you can blend all the colors together, add transparency to it, and you can use it as your background color. All right, so I believe you understand perfectly how the smart fill tool and how mesh tool works. So we can go on and practice this over and over again and make sure we get used to it. So thank you very much, and see you in my next video lecture.